Hello, I'm currently at ECL, as you would know if you've been to this exact lounge that I'm currently in. I'm a little overwhelmed today. I feel like this year's trying to take me out. This year's trying to assassinate me. This year just wants me gone. Because, not actually, but like, basically, I have my real job. I'm constantly feeling behind it, and I have this project. And then I also have my master's degree program that just keeps on existing and I forget. And then I'm like, wait a minute. And it's due on the 17th, which is the exact day that I get back from Brazil. And it's always due at 1 p.m., meaning there's going to be so much to get done in Brazil. But it's fine because I want to make I have a little video plan. So I think it'll be fun anyways. But I have a lot to get ready and I'm going to show my planner. Basically, this is my planner. I like to bullet journal. I've been bullet journaling since I was senior year in college. And I thought it wasn't going to work for me because I have ADHD, but it works for me because I have ADHD. Does that make sense? The thing I like about bullet journaling is that I will kind of forget about it for a while, every once in a while because of my ADHD. I'll really lean heavily on it on it for a while and then I get overwhelmed and I stop. But I keep persisting because it's not a traditional planner. So I always have the option to start it again and not feel bad like I wasted a bunch of pages. So it works for me. You can see I was pretty consistent this year in my planner. I love to do my little threads. And it's all just in a moleskin. And yeah, it was really keeping me on top of my game this year. Anyways, the point is that I accidentally skipped April and most of May. But because it's a bullet journal, I'm back. You see, I'm not embarrassed that I missed pages because I just made it myself. So I highly recommend it actually if you have ADHD. I like it. And this is my spread. I basically have, like I said, it's a moleskin journal, big one. This is the days of the week. And then I have just a page to do a spread of whatever I want, like a fun, however my brain is operating that week. And that's what I really like because it gives me it just gets the dopamine going because I get to be a little creative every week. So yeah, it's just fun to do a little reminder. Anyways, this is this week care package. So the whole theme of the week is that I'm making myself a care package for next week of all the things that I need in Brazil that would be really useful to me. And so yeah, I have Talk Mind. I mean that's where I work. It's a remote mental health company. And then my personal projects down here. So I have full numbers from the pattern separation experiment I'm already doing, full numbers from sparsely coded recurrent excitation. That's next. I do want to figure that out first. I have some more things that I want to do, but I'm gonna write them down actually in Planner, the website Planner here. Okay, I recently started using Planner at my job. I literally set it up myself. We have different buckets going into this care package. We have my personal projects, we have Talk Minds, and we have my assignment. So we're just gonna say masters. These are the things that I want. I want to have a document with all of the codes from all the experiments because I need to put them all into my new Jupyter lab as well. And that was my dilemma. I was really torn for a bit because I was all my experiments are on Jupyter lab on my MacBook, which I'm on now, but then everything else is on my other computer, like my RStudio, everything. So I was oh no, which computer do I bring? But I'm I can just set all that up on my other computer as well. So I have different questions about my experiments as well. I've had my last experiment is going to be basically a combination of the two. And it was not working the same as the ones that were separate, which kind of concerned me. And I don't know if that's really an issue. I could just honestly email my supervisor as well, not Teams him, but just be is this an issue or is it okay if I'm just comparing them to each other, where I think they're just there's more moving parts. So even though the effect is kind of the same, it's a little bit different. I'm going to talk about this one a little bit. I'm having a little bit of a dilemma with it in general. It's a really big one. This is my final moment. It's gonna, in the story arc of my paper, this is kind of this is it. This is the final thing. I don't know how to really put it, but it's it's my my question is finally getting completely answered. I just need to check it essentially. Okay, it's being really annoying, but I just need to check it essentially. But you can see it's like as if everything was happening at once. So it's a pretty complex one because this is the thing is that like it's got all the number ranges. So pattern separation, basically like all of the different like I could go all the way 0 to 1, and then I can also see like the recurrent excitation from 0 to 1 acetylcholine. And this is the thing that's kind of complex is that like I could like all of the number combinations from like the two I could have. So like I basically could have like the top part acetylcholine is at like 0.4 and the bottom it's at 0.8, and like there's countless number options, like there's a lot of different kind of combinations. So I guess I'm like that's either going to be really time consuming. I guess I'm going to pull all those numbers, but it's just there's a lot. It's like a really big thing, and then I've been kind of thinking about like how do I actually get this, how do I tell the story. And I guess like when I have a graph, like I could show like different things. Like okay, the acetylcholine was like normal, normal when they were actually encoding, but then like high when they were trying to recover it. And what did that do? Obviously, my number one question is like the acetylcholine was like high at encoding, and then also higher than it should be when they were trying to recover the memory. That's my like dissociative amnesia group right there. And then I could also like there's also other questions that I could kind of ask. Like for example, the acetylcholine is like low when they were encoding, and then also like low but like kind of like medium-ish low when trying to recover it. And the reason that one could be relevant too is for the people that have chronic stress or psychosis kind of stuff, where it's like it's lower than it should be when like it's lower than it should be essentially when they are trying to encode during the day, but because of hyperarousal, it's also not all the way high, but still a little bit high when they're trying to recover the memory, you know? So that would be really relevant for people with chronic stress because it's like, okay, it's not good enough to make a good memory, but then it's also still high when they're trying to recover it. So, like, what would that do? So, there's a lot of different things that I could get from this combo one. And it's like, do I get all the numbers? So, it's kind of like a question in my head. The other thing that I could do, obviously, right now, there's no requirement for what I do in Brazil. That's my choice. So, I could also just keep working on the writing, but I've been very in experiment mode. So, yeah, I'm not sure, like, what exactly I want to work on. So I'm just trying to give myself as many options as possible by getting all this information before I go. So there's that combo experiment. The other thing is that I need to have metrics for my like recurrent excitation experiment. That's also like sparsely coded. And I've been having like a good think about that. What do I want to do with that one? And like maybe I have some additional questions to ask. So this is like my stuff that I for sure want to have ready for me when I'm in Brazil. And then hello, I've just been in bed pretty much all day, just moving these numbers into my little like spreadsheet. Very glitchy. And it's been weird days. I just have a lot of life decisions to make right now, and then I'm finishing this. But I want to show some stuff that I've been noticing now that I'm all the way at the end that I think are interesting and that I want to explore right now. As you can see, I have a lot of tabs open, and if you can hear, my computer is like not having a good time right now. I'm all the way up at the most extreme end of what the bias could be, which I think is kind of unrealistic amount of like, I don't know, actually, I have no idea, but so I think I already mentioned that I saw that this net sum started to get more in the negatives, meaning that it was losing more bits than it was gaining, which is kind of interesting because it's like memory loss adjacent. You can see that it's still in the negatives. This is for a set, the bias is way up, so 0.8, all the way up to like here. And, but then you move up and you see that this net sum is very low here. And then Actually, it stays in the negatives at 0.4 for quite a bit, all the way back to like, oh, okay, so yeah, actually it pretty quickly starts dipping into the negatives, but it was pretty interesting. The thing that I think is a little bit weird is that the novelty score for this really, really high bias, this is a very experimental like thing that I'm doing right now. Like, I was kind of just going off of like, okay, let's just see because it seems promising, but I have no idea. So I don't know if I had any expectation or whatever, and it's kind of like weird, but basically this is at 0 acetylcholine, so it's like way too low. But this is the percentage of bits, active bits that are genuinely off manifold. So nothing, it's not from the dummy memory, it's not from the real memory, it's not from the noisy memory. Like, it's just novel over recalled sum. I forget how that works, but I guess the total number of bits activated in the active sum. So yeah, it's pretty interesting because, you know, it would never really be this low anyways. Like, no acetylcholine, you're literally not experiencing life at all. So it would probably be more like this is maybe more normal, but the percentage is pretty high by this point already, which I think is pretty interesting. I mean, now that I look at it, it's not that bad, but I'm just kind of curious how is it like 90 something percent? Like, that's a little bit high. So I thought I would run it one time with that situation and just like out of curiosity see what kind of happens. And what does the output look like? Let me choose one. I need to turn all these into tables, but so the bias at 0.9, which is super high anyways, and I don't know if it's even realistic. At acetylcholine like 3. Like, let's do this. Acetylcholine 3. And then the bias, instead of A, I'm gonna make it 0.8 and see what does that actually look like in practice, I guess. Okay, here it is. I'm really curious. Let's pull one of these. This is what was recovered, and this is what was learned. I can already see though that when it's so high, what's encoded is absolutely nothing like what's learned. So that's already kind of an issue. I don't know if issue is the right word, but the closest encoded is really different. So because this is what was meant to be learned, so I'm now a little bit confused about whether these are good, reliable results. This is what was supposed to be encoded. This is the closest encoded. And I guess, yeah, you can truly see that it's like it did turn off a lot of things that were on, and then it turned on a lot of things that were off. So at that point, you're just in chaos mode. Like, it's just like almost the opposite. So I guess it does make sense that that would be like that. It's just pretty interesting that the closest encoded ended up not even at all like the actual encoded. So it's a little hard to say, like, how do I read that result? I guess I'll just mention that. I don't know. I'm kind of like, I'm getting a little bit drained, I think, by this project. Let me just try it as well, like at its normal amount and see if that's like, I want to make sure that's not some kind of mistake that I missed. Like, what if I've been pulling all of these numbers and like there was some kind of glitch in my, I don't think that's true, but just in case, let me check that. That would actually break me inside a little bit because it took me so long to get all these results down. So, okay, so now it's just back to regular A. Please work normally so I don't hate myself. Please, please, please. So I'm just gonna pull all this. So just randomly like pattern 1. Please be working normally, please. Okay, let's see if closest, okay, no. Here, closest encoded and learned, like these are the same thing. There's no difference. Okay. As long as that's the case, it's pretty interesting that at some point, and I'll need to figure out when myself, at some point in time, it starts messing up what the closest encoded is. So everything is just in chaos by the time you start to get higher. Interesting, but I don't, let's test it. I don't think it's a, original kind of mess up spot where I really noticed it strongly. I don't think it's there either. I think it was still working fine at that point. So let me try it out. So here, yeah, actually you can see that here it's still encoding everything just fine. It's interesting how at some point it gets so high, like you see like normally it's fine, but at some point it just doesn't encode properly anymore. Or the closest encoded is not the same as what actually was encoded. So that's there's too much to talk about with this project. Is like there's just so much going on. There's like 1,000 different things going on that I'm like, when will it be over? So many things to learn, so many things to explain. I also went into Claude, and you can see my 1,000 tabs, but essentially I just put the whole thing in. Explain to me what part of the brain is represented by only the bias line. And then it said that the bias line represents inhibitory interneurons. I don't know, is that right? So this is the baseline inhibitory tone. I need to do research on this and like learn this, I guess. I guess what my thing is implying is that basically that I'm gonna write it. I don't think I'm gonna ask this, but the inhibitory interneurons fire too much, raising the firing threshold. I'm gonna ask just already if it has any correlation to like dementia or schizophrenia, but I'm gonna do the research myself. I just like at this point in time, I've done so much research, I've done so much learning. I'm like, I'm ready. So in schizophrenia, there's actually too little inhibition. What I'm gonna have to figure out, was this worth it? Was this worth the hunt? I don't know, actually, we'll see. I'm kind of doubting right now. Oh, I'm not gonna trust AI too much. I'm gonna trust my Okay, wait. So my question, I guess, is so as A goes up, interneurons are stronger in an abstracted sense. I might be understanding that off. Let's see. I'm gonna let it sit. I don't need to figure it out yet. I'm gonna figure out why that's happening, and I'm just gonna report it. Is it accurate to anything relevant, like anything real? Probably not. Well, maybe we'll see. But I'll just report it just in case. Okay, so this is what's interesting. So this isn't high or low. It's when the bias drifts away from the actual average of the network. So that's what I'm modeling. So I guess it's still kind of there. I'm gonna say like I've gained a lot of wisdom from doing this project, or like it has brought a lot of wisdom out of me that I've had to like. It's been pretty intense. Like it's been a pretty intense experience, and I've learned to trust myself. And like when you have a gut feeling about something, like don't take what's at face value, if that makes sense. Like just wait it out, get more information and like see what's going on, you know? Where it's like sometimes I think people like they give up on an idea really quick and they don't kind of like wait it out. I don't know how to put it, but kind of waiting this one out. I feel strongly that I should like utilize it in some way, shape, or form. I'm just trying to figure out like how, why, everything. Because, you know, some people would throw this away, but I don't think I should throw it away, you see? So I don't know. I don't know how to word it yet, but it's like, it's wisdom I've learned from doing this project. Okay. So this is actually still back to my same idea. So A doesn't represent interneuron strength directly. It represents the interneurons model of the network they're supposed. This is what I was saying in the beginning of like, it's not accounting for the sparsity amount correctly. So when that model becomes inaccurate, inhibition fails, not because interneurons are weak, but because they're correcting for the wrong target. And what I said before was that it was like it was failing to account for the density amount. So I guess I can try to figure out that being like an interneuron thing. It's been a weird era. Okay, I want to know what to search. Okay, so it's still back to this homeostatic plasticity thing. I've heard this word many times. So I'm going to go back to this. This is something that I think is the most promising for what I should look up. So what else? This is probably the most relevant paper. Cortical neurons receive balanced. Such a balance could be established and maintained in an experience-dependent manner
by synaptic plasticity and inhibitory synapses. Okay, so yeah, so we have a lot of promising things to kind of read about. And you see, I'm not going to throw it away. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes people throw away their stuff too quick, where it's like, I could have read that. Like, I keep being like, am I wrong? But I feel it strongly. So it's like, you see where it was like, it's actually the opposite. I could have been like, okay, this is trash then, you know, where it's like, no, you gotta like, if you feel it in your gut, like wait it out a second and get a little bit more information, you know. Anyways, I don't know. I just feel like I've learned a lot of lessons in this project. All right, so I guess I'll finish this and watch. I just want to say as one random side note that I'm so proud of myself this year as an ADHD person. Like, I think I said it at the beginning, the fact that I even sat down yesterday, the night before, and like genuinely did my assignment, like got it all set up, every single part of the list, I checked it off, and it's not due for like over 2 weeks. And then the fact that my bag is already packed and I leave in 2 days. And yeah, just like the level of preparation, the level of follow through is something that my ADHD self would not have imagined a few years back. And I've genuinely been feeling so proud of myself through that. And just like, it's funny, sometimes you're getting down on yourself for other stuff and you don't realize that under the surface you've improved and you've changed so much at other different things. So yeah, I was just sitting here like, oh my God, like I actually have changed so much and I just feel so much more capable as an ADHD person. So I need to start writing down like everything I learned this year because I feel like I've been really mastering my ADHD unmedicated.
Escrevi seu nome na areia. O sangue que corre em mim sai da tua veia. Veja só, você é a única que não me dá valor. Então por que será que esse valor o que eu ainda quero ter? Tenho tudo nas mãos, mas não tenho nada. Então melhor ter nada e luta pelo que eu quiser. Ei, mas peraí, ouço o forró tocando e muita gente aí. Não é hora pra chorar. Porém não é pecado se eu falar de amor. Se eu canto sentimento, seja ele qual for.
Wait, what is this for?
Salt, garlic against bad stuff.
Okay.
E escuta meu coração que bate com o compasso da zabumba de paixão. Ei, pra surdo ouvir, pra cego ver que esse shot faz milagre acontecer. Ei, pra surdo ouvir, pra cego ver que esse shot faz milagre acontecer. Ei, pra surdo ouvir, pra cego ver que esse shot faz milagre acontecer. Ei, pra surdo ouvir, pra cego ver, fala mansa, faz milagre acontecer.
Yeah, really? You planted all the flowers?
Essa flor aí é nada aqui. Eu plantei essa flor.
Oh, cool.
Eu escrevi seu nome na areia. O sangue que corre em mim só da tua veia.
Look at all this art over here.
Só, você é a única que não me dá valor. Então por que será que esse valor o que eu ainda quero ter? Tenho tudo nas mãos.
Delícia. Mesmo assim,
Okay.
a gente vai conseguir. Máscara aqui pra Júlia, ó, na cara dela, ó.
It really is. It looks like her. Is this your chart? I got confused.
Ó, Capricórnio na 1. Vendo?
That is your chart. Okay.
Ó, Capricórnio na 1. Montão de aquário na 1. A Júlia tem aquário. Agora o meu Marte é na casa 12, infelizmente.
Infelizmente.
Infelizmente. É aqui Saturno retrógrado na casa 3, em Áries. E Lilith na casa 4, 5.
I need to remember my Lilith is.
Montão de planeta em Virgo, ó. Aqui é Virgo, ó. Lua em Virgo. Vênus, Júpiter, Urano, tudo em Virgo. Sol na casa 10 em Capricórnio. Meu mapa. Aí teve. Isso aqui era um mapa que eu fiz quando eu tinha 19 anos. Eu achei um dia, eu escrevi tudo nele, ó. Unir o sagrado ao profano. Reis Hugo, stop. Coragem, determinação. Sabedoria. Encontrou uma amiga. Reis Hugo, stop. Tá vendo? Não obedece.
No, Google.
Hey, Google.
This is also on my vision board for the year, actually. We both have this. I love this. I love Right Girl. That's like one of my favorite things. Pretty though. Cute. Is it?
Só isso.
Cute.
Pode ver.
Alright, hello. Welcome to Brazil. I'm currently staying with my mom in Rio, where she lives and has lived for like the last 2 years. I have never come to visit her before. And all this time, I just haven't had like the funds and the time. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here finally. So right before I traveled, I got this book, Why Machines Learn, The Elegant Math Behind Modern AI. And I've been reading it like crazy because I've been a little uninspired to actually, even though there's not much left to actually get all my numbers and all my metrics and everything, I just haven't really been that inspired to finish it. Like I've had a little bit of a creative block, and I also just thought about it and I was like, I don't think that I actually know. I didn't feel like I understood how weights actually worked, like from a deeper mathematical level, and that was another kind of bump in the road because I didn't know how to explain some of the effects that I was seeing in the ones that were relevant to dementia, and I actually got all the numbers for that last week, so that was really exciting, and that took me quite a few days because it was so many different like sections, so many different sections of the project, and yeah, it just took me a few days. So but I didn't know how to explain it, so that's why I got this book, and I read 2 chapters relevant to hot field networks, and I'm just gonna jump around. I'm not gonna like just read what's relevant to me. So there's Magic in the Matrices is the name of this chapter, and it was really good and explained like the math of the matrices themselves. And then the chapter that I've been reading now with a little help from physics, and this has been super duper useful. It literally is all about the hot field network. So the thing about the weights and how they work in my model is that they're actually matrices as well, and so they operate with the same like mathematical principles, but they have some differences in what they're meant to do, and I guess the usage is a little bit different, and also there's certain things that are a little bit different, like I don't know, they just have their own rules. So they like certain numbers have to make other numbers turn. And yeah, you can see I've really been doing some intense learning. I was reading the whole way here on the plane. I was reading before I came to Brazil, when I was at the Brazilian consulate, trying to figure all that out. So it's been pretty crazy, and I'm almost done with this chapter, and it's just been really useful. It's about to go a little bit more into energy as well and how energy works, and I think that's going to be useful as well because I have some things that I want to talk about with that. So it's just been a good read and very necessary. And yeah, I low-key have a lot to do on this trip in Brazil. But yeah, so my mom and I are about to go out, but
this has just been in the background of my mind, and it's kind of a funny place to do this because Brazil is so flowy and computational neuroscience is like numbers and like squares and stuff, but kind of fun.
Tristeza no meu pobre coração e até
Hello, my little suco de maracujá. I don't know why I'm whispering. Yeah, there's really no reason to whisper. I don't know why I'm whispering, but okay, I'm gonna have one last little clip of my project because I finally feel brave enough to confront it. But first I'm gonna show off these random little things that my mom bought me at some point in time, and then she just never got around to sending them to me because it's kind of expensive to send stuff, but I thought they were really, really cute. First of all, she got me this little cloth. It's like a little yamanja. So pretty. Fun fact, actually, when my mom and dad were trying to conceive me, or like not me but a child who turned out to be me, they actually went to the ocean and left an offering to Yamanja, who is like a Brazilian goddess of the ocean essentially, and they asked for a child, and like 2 weeks later or so they found out that they were pregnant with me. Yes, so here's Yamanja. And then these are just cute. It's not that big of a haul, but I just thought they were so cute. Oh, did she write something for me? It was supposed to be for my birthday. She said in Portuguese, "Happy birthday, Kel. I hope that God or the gods or the goddesses bless you. You are a person of much light. Show off all of your lights. Love you, mamãe. Setembro 2025." And it's this, because these were my favorite little fairy things as a kid. And then these are really cute. These are actually a symbol, I think, in like Umbanda or Candomblé, but I was in a band, like a little punk band in senior year called Figs Against God, and our symbol, or little symbol, was this little thing, and it was based off of this picture. It was like a painting associated with a William Butler Yeats story or something, I don't know, and he's like doing this to God, and this used to be like a curse to God. That's not what the symbol means in this religion, but my mom thought that they reminded her of that. So yeah, these little Figs Against God little hands that are doing the same thing, because these were called Figs Against God or something like that. And then finally she got me this little Yamanja little necklace. And it just has her symbols on it. Anyways, yeah, just like a mini haul of stuff that my mom randomly got me for my birthday and just didn't get around to sending me. And this was literally last September, so it has been months and months and months, but finally I received them by coming and flying all the way to Brazil. Anyways, I bought new pens and highlighters. It's funny because with this project, I don't feel like it's not even academically stuck sometimes. I feel like I get emotionally stuck on certain parts of the project where it just feels like a really big emotional feat. It's weird talking about this project here. Like, the project doesn't exist to me anymore. Like, it's fake, it's real. It's not real. It doesn't, like, it's so tied to London, but it's like I must persist because this is due really soon. It's not really soon, but it's like I want it to be early on it. Now it's like almost there, but I have my planner with me, and yeah, I feel like I get emotionally stuck on stuff where it's like, okay, now this is really big, this is really changing my life, and this is becoming like a big thing that I'm doing. And my whole goal, my goal before I started this as a project was to publish this paper, and I still would really like to publish it. I don't know, I feel like actually the minute I stepped in Brazil, and this is my first day here still, but it felt like I genuinely stepped into a portal. I genuinely stepped through a portal into like a whole different dimension of me and my life, and like none of it exists anymore. And this is such a like everyday thing that I work on, but here it's like, no, none of this exists. So it's really bizarre to like sit here and be like, okay, this project, and it kind of makes it feel more real. But basically the part that I'm getting stuck on is that I now need to make metrics for my sparsely coded like recurrent excitation model. It's funny because I was reading about recurrence in my book like yesterday. I was reading in the airplane and learning all about it, and I want to go back and actually further like read it again so then I can say good stuff about it in my paper and feel like I sound more expert. That's been the nice thing about the book, is that I feel like I'm gonna sound like I know what I'm talking about, because I don't 100% feel like I know what I'm talking about sometimes. I already made a list on my computer of the metrics for my densely coded model, and what that means is that one of them is like, the one that I already did stuff for is a very normal Hopfield network where it's like everything is ones and negative ones like this, and it's just like 50-50. The one that I'm doing is like a change, and it's not the original intention of a Hopfield network. It's like different and just operates by slightly different rules, but it's like this 0 0 0 0 1. It's zeros and ones instead, and it kind of operates a little bit differently. Like it just does stuff that you wouldn't really expect sometimes, and it just like basically makes these interesting kind of mistakes, or not, I don't know if mistakes is the right word. It just goes on these different behaviors, and yeah, it's just easier for like certain little mistakes to happen, I guess. And I think that's partly the reason that I'm seeing some of the effects that I'm seeing. Basically, yeah, I just want to learn some more about that. But yeah, I already ran some numbers for this one, so now I need to make the metrics for this one. The thing is that this one was, first of all, it's more relevant because I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna run a combo experiment with two different ones, and it's gonna be in this form because that's the form that the other one had to be in by design. It doesn't even have this version of it, so I needed this one to exist. And this one's actually the one that's more biologically realistic because it works more like an actual brain does. Because brains, usually it's like off or on. It's not like negative or positive. So this one's like the star of the show, essentially. And I basically need to figure out, it actually did some more complex stuff. This one operated very simply. So in my patterns, when it started to get into like the recurrent excitation was getting squished down, basically what happened is that either like the patterns, like this, it was like pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 3. Sometimes one pattern was just off completely and one pattern was just completely on, which kind of makes sense because that's how they kind of work here. But with this one, I got more like complex behaviors. So sometimes like instead of like it being like off, on, and off, I get ones where it was like things were combined. So it was like, okay, there's like a part of this is like is kind of off. Okay, I just bought this pen, so let's not play around. Okay, there. Or a part of this is on, and it just made these really complex kind of behaviors that I'm trying to figure out, like, how do I want to basically find, like, how do I want to measure that? And I don't know if I really want to use, I'm going to use similar metrics, but I want to use some that are maybe better to capture those effects. And yeah, it's just really real past this point because I have it mostly done. And then also I need to run them all at capacity, just random stuff like that. It's kind of good because most of this is going to be done off screen because I'm going to be, well, first of all, I'm just going to be hanging out with my mom. And it's kind of awkward to be like, Mom, I'm going to film a random YouTube video in here. It's like, okay. But also, you just don't need to see that. It's just me copying and pasting numbers. I'm just going to take a second to finally get over my mental block and see, like, what do I think needs to be in that model. So I'm going to show you. I'm just opening up. I'm too lazy to do this on Teams as I usually do. I'm just going to show you because I'm actually doing this on paper. I basically just pulled up, these are the numbers that I've gotten so far. And these are the ones where it's like negative ones and ones. And these are the metrics that I have so far. It's like, how successful was it at retrieving the pattern? You know what? These aren't bad already. I'm gonna remind myself what some of these are. Okay, we have one metric that we actually, this was how I was confused about, is that I had a metric called like spurious, I guess, to see like how often were they actually spurious attractors. But okay, Claude actually answered this question because I was trying to remind myself how my own metrics worked, and it said that basically the issue is that spurious, like that spurious one, anytime it isn't a +1, and if it's all negative ones, basically it will count as spurious. So it's supposed to be like a combo of the two. So that means that even when it's all the way, like it's basically all negative ones, like it will still count as spurious. So that's why I was confused, because spurious would usually be like a blend of different things, but I was like, there's definitely not a blend happening. So that actually was really helpful, and that's a metric that I am gonna add to. I was like, there's something a little off here. I was like, that's weird that it would do that. So that was one catch that it just made really quick, which was good. And then, so basically the first one is just, did it pass or fail? I need to make sure that these are all essentially attuned to the fact that I'm doing a sparsely coded network for this one, which is 0s and 1s, not -1s and 1s, because apparently that it turns out it will change things. So I need to make sure that these are all attuned to that. And then this one needs to change up because it's easier to get a pass and fail when they're -1s and 1s, because that was how it was coming up. The problem with these is that it came up with these more complex mixtures. So I might still have that really like yes and no one, but it also needs to be able to account for the complexity. So I actually did something in how I actually looked at my code that I think I'm just gonna do it here too. Well, actually I think I can keep these. So the next two are basically how similar is this to the thing that's supposed to remember, or how similar is it to the thing that like to the opposite of like I can't remember anything. And those are the next two. And I think I'm also gonna add one where it's just like, which did it lean more towards, which I have in some of my other models. Well, actually that already existed. So I guess I'll have all of it. So that one's already done. Energy at convergence, that's what I just read about, and we are gonna keep that. And I think that will be very interesting. Okay, actually a lot of this was already good. I think I just needed to sit with it and try to actually understand it. This is where we're borrowing from other models. So basically there's that one where I'm trying to see if it's a blend, but I want to get more information about what that blend is. Where are these numbers coming from? Where are these, I guess the qualities of the blend is the thing that I want to know, which might have already been covered, but we'll see. Qualities of the blend. And then I also want to see maybe sometimes if there were some that just didn't come from anywhere, and that's also going to be included. So did they come more from noisy? Did they come more from, I kind of feel like I'm just doing stuff that's like, okay, that was already included, but I do want to make sure that I get all of this. I want one where it's there's something that I'm just not feeling like I'm touching on, which is the fact that these numbers just kind of run away into each other, and like the ones just kind of spread into each other. And so I think I'm going to actually write all these metrics down. This one for some reason is weirdly complex, but it's a very important experiment. And I basically just want to come back to it and see what other qualities are important, but I might save that for later. But already this is looking better and I feel pretty good about that. So yeah, I'm just gonna stop it here, but that's where I'm gonna start the next video, is just me doing that. I'm probably gonna do that off camera and just update, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Here we have the list of all of my little metrics, and yeah, this project is almost done, which is insane but scary at the same time. I'm in Brazil. That's crazy. All right, bye.
Pipoca na panela, começa a arrebentar. Pipoca com sal, e sede que dá. Pipoca e guaraná, programa legal. Só eu e você, e sem peruá. Eu quero ver pipoca pular. Pipoca com guaraná. Eu quero ver pipoca pular. Pipoca com guaraná. Quero ver pipoca pular, pular. Sou louca por pipoca.